You're listening to The Mentality Show, only on LA Talk Radio.
All right, live from Los Angeles, the airways of LA Talk Radio and Facebook Live. It is Wednesday, 6 p.m. What does that mean, gentlemen? It is the Mentality Show time, right?
Is that what
it's
it
Mentality
is?
Show,
Yeah.
folks.
The Mentality Show, yeah.
All our Mentalians out there.
Beer time.
Pacific time.
I didn't realize that. Cheers, buddy.
There you go.
You guys, I thought you did that before the show.
No, we do it now.
All right, get it out of the way. So it is the Mentality Show time. As I say, Wednesday, live from the airwaves of LA Talk Radio, Facebook Live. If you want to chime in on what we have to talk about today, and I will let you know what we have to talk about today. The number is 818-570-5085. That's 818-570-5085. Should be on the screen there for you. Before we get started here, Texie, before we get started here, let me introduce my co-host here. I got my man, a.k.a. the Fishman, Sculligan Scully in the house.
What's up, Scully?
What up? What up, Scully? Scully. How you feel, man?
I'm feeling really good. You should sound a little more excited when you introduce me, Dad.
Oh, my bad, Scully. I lose focus sometimes.
Get pumped, get pumped.
Yes, sir. All right. Now, next, I got my man, Tech C, a.k.a. the Drone Man in the house.
What up?
That's right.
The drone man.
The Drone Man in the house.
Texie.
If you guys want to get involved with his business, LA Aerial Image, this is the man. He does all of our videos, all of our skits. It is A1 classy stuff. I'm telling you, this is the man, a.k.a. the Drone. That's what we call
The
him.
Drone Man.
And now I got my man to my right here, a.k.a. Vato V, a.k.a. the Mexican in the house.
Yo, mi raza. What's happening?
He's the one who represents all of our Mexican, Hispanic folks out there. He speaks your language. So he is he is the man. And I am Delano, a.k.a. the host of the show. So,
Who do you represent?
He's
I
H.
represent.
He's the host?
I represent everyone. I'm a collage of all races. I sound like a white guy.
He represents
See,
the
I
big
gave y'all
team.
nice AKAs today. I gave y'all nice AKAs, so y'all about to mess with my AKA right now. I said AKA the Mexican, the Drone, the Fishman. Now y'all want to call me Metro?
No,
huh?
I didn't say Metro. I said AKA the host. That's an H.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you did say that. Okay. There was still an insult in there.
Somebody
All
said
right.
Metro. Who was it?
All right, so I could go with some mean AKAs, but anyway. All right, so we also have we have a very interesting guest here today who claims he knows women better than most. He is what we call a woman whisperer, if you will.
The woman whisperer.
He's here to give us a few lessons when it comes to women and what he calls man school, and we'll tell you more about that in a minute. So we'll be getting into that. But before we do that, if you're new to the Mentality Show or if you've never seen the show before, we must warn you that the views and opinions expressed on this show, some listeners and viewers may find offensive. Viewer discretion. We don't give a fuck. Okay. All right. So we talk about everything on the show, from LA's weather finally being okay to everyone asking, is Texie going to burp or fart on the show today?
How about both?
People are wondering about that.
And I'm sitting right next to him.
We got the emails on
Get
that.
the whiffs.
Well, when you get past 40, you never trust a fart. Might fuck up.
40-year-old fart, man. It's been there for
Might
a
be
long
wet.
time, man. Yeah.
Might be a
Ugh.
wet one.
Okay, yeah. Oh, that's gross.
Fuck
Okay.
up a good pair of underwear.
He's going to whistle.
We also cover from finding the right partner in life and wondering if she's a catch, to the strange rumor going around that Scully's pubic region looks like a pumpkin patch. Is that's gross, man. That's gross, man. It's going around. People are talking.
You should just show him the moon.
I haven't seen it in a while.
People are talking. What else do we cover there, Scully?
We cover from roses being red and violets being blue to when your man uses his hand, is he still thinking of you?
I like that one.
We talk about that, man.
That's
We
funny.
talk about it. We cover. What else would we cover there, Tech?
From the guys here at the Mentality Show, sometimes being blunt, to our guest today, does he really know what women want?
There you go. There you go. That's right.
We're gonna find out. V, what do we cover, buddy?
From coming on the Mentality Show, and we'll make you famous, to why Sculligan's beard looks like a ginger shaved anus.
It's tough being a redhead on this show, man.
It
Tough.
is always being kicked in the shins.
The balls.
All right, so let's get to the meat and potatoes of the show here. We have our special guest. Let's please welcome. I mentioned what he's going to talk about today. I'm also going to give another introduction to him, Mr. Matthew Soloman here.
Matthew, welcome here. Welcome.
Matthew Soloman here. Okay, he's labeled a social visionary, relationship expert. He's also a life coach, relationship coach. He teaches an online course called Love the Fuck Out of Yourself. I love that title.
That's cool.
He also has a book titled Man School. It's right here. I have it right here in my hand. It's called Man School, Relating with Women in the Me Too Era right now. So this is very, very interesting because this is a new era as far as men dealing with women. You can't do some of the things you used to do or say some of the things you used to say. So in short, what he does is he teaches men how to relate with women and create a deep connection while providing the space for women to show up fully in their radiance. Please welcome to the show once again, Mr. Matthew Soloman.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Welcome.
All right. So, Mr. Soloman, my first question, we have a list of questions here. We are so happy to have you here.
Yes, we are.
What made you want to get involved with this issue and teach or even write a book about it, the whole Me Too movement, women?
It was requested of me, honestly. You know, I grew up in LA. I grew up with everybody. All the schools were integrated. I always had women who were friends, and I worked in the fashion industry, and then I was in the music business, and I was a dancer for a long time.
Okay.
And so,
what kind of dancer? We're talking
like tap, not
tap. Okay, not pole. Tap.
No,
okay, gotcha.
not
That's a big
exotic,
difference.
not
Gotcha.
too exotic.
All right.
But you know, tap dance, and so I've always had women. I've been listening to women for years,
Yeah.
and when the Me Too online thing happened. Now, Me Too started in 2006 by a woman named Tarana Burke.
Right.
But, you know, when we talk about the hashtag, that was about a year and a half ago.
Right.
When that happened, and women, mostly women, men too, but, you know, mostly women were sharing their stories, and my timeline was flooded, you know, on Facebook. And because I knew of the statistics and the magnitude, like, I wasn't shocked, but it was still humbling.
Yeah.
And so they were sharing their stories, and they were united and had their their voice. And then I would see men who didn't know and weren't prepared for that, who would push back, who would victim blame, who would question if that was really true or not. And so I started interacting with the men and saying, no, this is actually the experience, and most women really feel unsafe in the world because of this, and this. And so then women were like, oh my God, a man who gets it and has been listening, please write a book or teach a class or something. And so I wrote a book. And then I created a course called Man School also.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
So, and you're right, as far as men pushing back towards the Me Too movement, you actually still have that today.
Oh, for sure.
Where a lot of men don't believe that some of these stories that women have gone through and some of these experiences that they have. Do you feel, since you've come out with this book and this message, that men the men that you've interacted with are starting to turn around?
Yeah, well, so there's kind of two camps. There's the men who are interested, who want to know more, who want to understand what's going on, and then there's the men who, like, they have no interest in it, and they just write me off as like a liberal cuck who's trying to like pussify men. I mean,
we have some here today.
My idea of Me Too movement and why it has come about is because of powerful men who are powerful, have money, and they make these passes towards women.
Yeah.
I mean, not really much the dating scene, though. That's not why Me Too came up. I mean,
well, it was certainly, what's more in the news, right? It gets attention because if somebody like Harvey Weinstein or Bill Cosby or Kevin Spacey, R. Kelly, they're like that's how these things come about when it's people who are high profile, because that catches attention.
Right.
And so, Me Too online came about because of that, and then the women who were sharing their stories were talking like. Within a month of that book coming out, a good friend of mine told me about her friend that was almost date raped by a restaurant manager in Venice. Yeah. And so it's like the stuff is still going on. It's just we hear more about like the high profile.
Right.
Yeah, because sexual harassment is basically sexual harassment. It happens every day on an everyday basis. Right. In the business we work and have worked in, you hear about it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
I always say that if I was a woman and I had, as men, I mean, because men are women may be smarter, that's debatable, whatever, but men, we're definitely stronger, physically stronger than women. And as men, I can imagine, there was a comedian that did a joke about this. He said, imagine going out with a grizzly bear, okay? This bear could kill you with his bare hands, and you're trusting your life on a first date or whatever with this person, and you're putting yourself in that situation. I mean, I remember when I was a child, and I've been sexually harassed and approached by grown men, And I remember it scared the shit out of me because there's nothing I could do. I couldn't defend myself or anything like that. And a lot of men don't understand that because we feel like, we can fight our way out of stuff. But women, they don't have that option a lot of times.
Right.
And
so
and even a small man, because we have more testosterone, we have more of a potential to do damage and hurt. And so it's an inherent survival thing where women sense that.
Right.
And so they can be, if not easily overpowered, the perception is that they can be. And I taught self-defense and martial arts and women's self-defense for years. So I've trained women how to fight back also. And my daughter is 14. She'll beat the crap out of somebody. But it is that. And I wanted to say also, when Russell Simmons had some allegations come out.
Yeah, Russell Simmons,
which had me, it's like, he's into like meditation and vegan, like all spiritual stuff. And it had me take stock of having been in the music business myself, where that behavior, it went beyond expected. Like, it was like, this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to, fuck a lot of women. You're supposed to, have the groupies, and then when they're done, the next ones come in. And so, like, the whole culture was about that.
Yeah. That's, it's still there's still a lot of men who think that today. I mean, you grew up thinking. I'm not gonna lie. You grew up, thinking, just put it in every woman that you meet, and it's something as an innate thing about men that we just want to do that. I don't care what age you are. You just want to put it in every woman.
It didn't even really have to be a woman. It just had to be.
It could be an inanimate object. It's called apple pie, whatever. They did a whole movie about it.
Hey, bro, you see that hole in that tree over there?
It's called a glory hole.
I mean, we worked in the jail system, and we dealt with kids who, these are teenage boys who. They come up with some creative things as far as what they could fuck, I mean, gloves. They call it fifis and all kinds of stuff,
Gloves with lotion inside.
Right. And as long as you're just putting it inside of something, that's all that matters.
Slap a couple steaks together.
There you go.
So, you have to grow up and you have to mature and you have to realize that, that steak needs some sauce in it, before you can fuck it. We're still gonna fuck the steak. It just needs a little bit more sauce,
more seasoning.
So more seasoning. Right.
Marinates.
So let me ask you this: what is it about women that make them so complicated to men? What is it about him? As a woman whisperer,
well, it's just we're wired different. We communicate different. Like when we talk amongst ourselves, we're either trying to solve something or trying to figure something out. When women are sharing, they want us to get their experience, and it's more for them because they're more, emotion based.
Right.
That they're coming from like how they're feeling and how they were feeling about what happened or what didn't happen, and so that's we're just wired different.
That's true, because when women are telling a story. And so they're going through something, we always want to help them, if we care about them, like, okay, we want to give our opinion on how we can.
This is what you got to do.
Yeah, this is what you got to do. And they just want to they just want us to be an ear, and they want us to listen to what they have to say.
Yeah, they don't want our fucking opinions.
They don't want our fucking opinions, exactly.
It's funny because they want to vent. They want to tell us what's going on. They want our opinion, but they just want us to listen. And when we give our opinion, they already have it in their mind that they already set to do what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
But when you tell them something, it's like, I don't want to do that.
And we don't.
And they still do it anyway.
What the fuck? Like for me, I have a hard time listening. You can grab me in the first 30 seconds, and then after the first minute, you've lost a portion of me.
Yeah.
And then after 2 or 3 minutes, if you're still talking, man, I'm lost.
Oh my God, so true, so true. And women, we love you, but you can go on and on and on, and men, we have short attention spans.
We don't listen.
Yeah, we don't listen at all. I mean, women, they can text their girlfriends and have a whole conversation with you at the same time and listen. Man, I can't do it. If I'm texting my boys and somebody calls me, whatever's important at that time, I have to just stick with that. Like, I won't answer the call, or I can't multitask like that. So
you can't walk and chew gum.
Sometimes I can't. You're right.
I do. There's a chapter in the book on listening that breaks down step by step how to listen to a woman so that she feels heard. And a big part of it is when we can train ourselves to become curious about them and listening for what the experience is versus how we can fix it, then it becomes easier to stay in the conversation.
Yeah.
Versus like, okay, I don't know what I'm listening to.
Right. They just want to know that we care. Yeah. So, so when it comes to your man school teachings, what is the lesson that you think most men fail in? Is it the listening part?
It's trying to fit them into the box of what our experience is, which isn't just a men thing. Like, it's a human thing.
Right.
Like we grew up totally different, but it's natural for me to assume that how you see the world and how I see the world is going to be the same,
Right.
when it's not, because we've just had different experiences. And so with women, we were talking about a minute ago, and we all kind of agreed that women live in more fear than we do. They have, a need for safety and security.
Yeah.
And so for us to recognize that is a big leap forward, because a lot of the men that I was interacting with online couldn't even grasp that. And they'd get into, well, as a man, I'm statistically, more likely to get shot and killed on the street. Or as a man, and we'd get into statistics versus like the actual lived experience.
No,
Interesting.
listen.
Interesting.
Don't
Well,
listen.
Vato V, he beats women.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Shut the fuck
so
up.
can you explain to him? No.
Fuck no.
He wears,
just
he
wrong.
wears his wife beater.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
were quick to respond to that.
I'm
So
like, fuck no. I'm a lover, not a fighter.
that's interesting. So you're saying that men, we tend to be more. Because statistically, we throw statistics out because we tend to, men tend to get killed and involved in crime and die sooner than women and things like that. And women, but they still have the right to be scared because of the situations that they put themselves in, or that they're in with men.
No, it's not even a right, really. It's just their lived experience, like you were saying. Like, men are, we're inherently more powerful, right?
Right.
Stronger. So there's a fear. There was this article on Huffington Post where they asked women what they do daily to keep themselves safe.
Yeah.
And there were 32 things on that list. Everything from keeping their keys between their fingers to when they get in their car, checking the back seat before they get in their car.
Right.
Not walking in dark parking garages, or if they see like a group of men on the street, they'll cross the street.
Yeah.
Or on dates, even going on a date. A friend will know, like, this is what the guy looks like, this is his phone number,
Yeah.
this is where we're going, and if you don't hear from me by this time, something happens.
Yeah, man, we don't have to do any of that
No,
crap.
I
Yeah,
think
you're right.
on that.
I
absolutely
would
right.
almost disagree with that. I mean, how many men are out there that are walking the streets at night are scared to fucking death and they just won't admit it?
That's
how
true.
how many men are actually crossing the street because they see a group of guys and they're intimidated by it?
Are we talking about white men?
I think that
yeah.
no, I mean, you
Oh,
see it all
Jesus.
the time. I mean, most men aren't going to admit it anyway, right? Because
Yeah.
they're just not.
Dude, if I'm walking in an alley and I see whoever, black, Mexican, hood or whatever, he just this
fucking
dark
ginger,
figure,
'cause
I'm going to be.
I'll steal your soul right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure I'm prepared, and there's going to be an alertness that I'm going to have. But women, I mean, think about if you're a woman, you're probably 2 or 3 times even more scared of that
Just vulnerable.
situation.
I
because
get
there's-
that. I just think the statistics are probably off a bit, if not a lot of it, because men aren't going to fucking answer that honestly.
But I think what a woman is looking for, like, this is what I got, is that a woman is looking for a protector, not just necessarily a man that's gonna be like, I'm a big strong guy or whatever. She's just looking for somebody that's gonna be there to protect pretty much everything that she's got.
Yeah,
you
her
know?
space.
Exactly.
The space.
So
yeah,
when I
yeah.
say I'll rip that motherfucker's throat out, why do I get a dirty look?
She
you
probably,
say that to-
well, she probably
Because your wife can do the same.
yeah.
I'll have her kick-
Motherfucker,
yeah.
I'll do it first.
I'll give her my lunch money.
What if you're with a Rasputia type chick that can whoop your ass? Man? There's some women out there who can whoop their man's
Fuck
and
yeah.
any other man's ass too. Like
Some
that would be
MMA
a
chick.
weird situation
Yep.
for me.
Ronda
Ronda
Rousey.
Rousey. My
you
woman
up.
can fuck me up. I mean, how do you have sex with her? 'Cause
Very carefully.
is she the one?
Carefully.
She'll fuck you.
She's doing you doggy style, right?
she's gonna submit you. Tap out.
Oh man, so now you were once married
Yep.
yourself. You said you have 3 children.
Yeah, 3 kids.
Now here's my question here. Now you're not a doctor or a professor or anything like that.
No.
So what makes you such an expert in this field? What is it about you?
Most of it is life experience. I was a program leader for Landmark Worldwide, where I led introductions and programs, and I've been in seminars and read books and studied my ass off how to be a better man, how to be better in relationships, how to be a better father for 20 plus years. So it's a combination of all of that. It's I coach couples, and so I work with this stuff all the time. And I put this to use in my relationships, even as a filmmaker, showing up on set. It's all communication and understanding, and
Yeah. Let me ask you. I saw an interview you had on, I believe, what channel was it? KTLA. KTLA. Yeah. In there, you made a statement, and when I heard it, I was like, wow, I can probably write a book myself, because you said you went out on approximately 60 dates in a year and a half after your divorce.
And there was a relationship after my divorce, so after that relationship.
After that relationship. So in a span of a year and a half, you dated 60 women.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a few questions about
that. Go for it.
I've been on all kinds of websites simultaneously and things like that, and I've never been able to go out. I mean, maybe the most 10 dates within a year and a half is expensive. You went out on 60. Okay, so how did you manage that? How were you able to do that?
It was a lot. I mean,
and what made you want to do that?
I didn't intend to. But so coming off of that relationship, I realized that I had been from relationship to relationship to relationship for 20 years.
Right.
Since before my marriage, and then my marriage, and then afterwards. So my friends were like, "You're not getting in a relationship. You need to chill out and just date." And I agreed. And I wanted to get to know myself. I wanted to meet different women and see what was available and what I liked and what I didn't like versus
I want to get out there.
Yeah.
Versus just like getting into a relationship.
I want to fornicate.
Yeah. Did you bang any of these women?
Of course.
Tell the truth.
I'd say sure.
60 or
no.
30%? Okay.
No.
But you know what though? I
59 of them.
No, I understand.
Yeah. I'm listening. Go ahead.
58, give or take.
58 and a half.
That's a hell of a success rate right there.
Man.
But I understand what you're talking about, because I too am divorced, and once you get into you've been with a person for a long time, and then you start thinking, fuck, who else is gonna want me in this world?
Yeah.
So you start, you come out there, and then you explore. I mean, it was a while before I started dating anybody. And I was kind of scared. I was like, what am I gonna do now? I don't know this game now, man. Like,
What's going on POF?
There you go, POF. I did. And I was like, holy shit, and just like you, I was like, this shit's getting expensive. I became a serial dater.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, what am I doing, man?
Yeah.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
It was very,
and it
very
was,
expensive.
some of them were coffee dates, some of them were just drinks, some of them were, sitting on the beach or going for a hike or something,
And were these women you met online? How did you meet all these women?
Mostly it was on apps. Yeah, I was on on all the apps,
What advice would you? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, on that same subject, and so at any time did you think I should just do this myself?
Do what myself?
Date yourself.
Date myself.
It's called stroking the bird.
Date yourself.
I mean, I did that too.
We call that something else here on the show. You say you did that too.
Instead of fornication, it's called masturbation.
Physically and mentally. I mean, sometimes the old adage that if you want it done right, you do it yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, if you're divorced in a relationship, that relationship ends. Now you're out there just dating and dating and dating. At what point you just go, fuck, dude, fuck this.
I enjoyed it. I mean, it was cool meeting people. I like to meet people and, talk to people and and actually dating those women. They all told me their horror stories, which shaped how I viewed Me Too when that happened, which is how the book came about.
So when you went out with these women, you were the guy,
the
sensitive guy who listened. It was like research, basically.
It wasn't, but it became.
It turned into
it became through.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't actively researching, but I was listening and I was absorbing what they were telling me.
You have to get into the mind of a serial killer.
No wonder why your getting in the draws rate was so high, because you listened. That's the whole key, women, gentlemen. You have to listen.
Chapter 6.
Chapter 6, right? Exactly.
Chapter 8.
Chapter 8.
Is it 8?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Texie on his homework.
I heard you talk about it a few times, and so we're in the lobby. I read it. Real quick.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that, Tech. So we talk about that on the show all the time, dating online, and you did the apps and online and everything. What advice would you have for men out there who are, besides listening, who are dating online and because when I dated online, I had the worst experiences. I would meet women who were 50 pounds heavier than they advertised.
Catfishes.
Catfishes. I would run into no shows and stuff like that. And I've done some no shows myself, but I wasn't the best online dater
like
either.
This. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go.
He's like,
That has happened. I saw her across the street and I was like, "What are you wearing?" I have a red shirt on, and she looked like a cow. And I'm like, "Bye, see you."
Who on the phone move?
Yes, that's how you do it. You have her meet you across the street, and you. So, what advice would you have for men?
Well, there's a couple different things. The first one is to really be clear about what you want.
Yep.
And so, when I first started dating, I didn't want to be in a relationship, and so I said on my profile, I'm looking for something casual. I'm just out of a
Oh
relationship.
my God, you put that?
I put that.
And women responded to that?
Yeah.
Because usually when we say I'm looking for something casual, that means I'm just trying to fuck, basically.
Yeah.
And women responded to that.
Yeah.
so we call it
If a
fornication.
woman responds to that tells me that
I
she
know
wants
multiple
she
people
wants
that
it.
took
Well,
that
'cause-
angle and were successful.
Yeah. See? Yeah.
But that's the thing. There are women who don't want anything serious, who maybe they're just going through a divorce, or
shit.
they're tired of relationship or whatever, for whatever reason. So,
What if you're looking for something serious, but at the same time, hey, if we fuck, we fuck. How would you just put that in your description? Like, because that's how I was. I was online. I wasn't looking for anything serious, but if something, a blessing came along or something
Yeah.
like that,
looking
then
for
hey,
some-
I was open minded to that as well.
I'm looking for
I just
something
didn't know how
casual.
to- yeah.
That's the way you say it.
Yeah, but then you meet that chick who's all about casualness,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
right.
she's a whore, So, I wasted my time on date 58, So, how do you describe that? How can you explain that to a woman, without insulting her?
I mean, you could just say that. You know what? I'm dating to figure out myself and to
Yep.
see what I want and who's out there. And if something develops, I'm open to that.
I like
She's
that.
like, oh, that's game. You just trying to get in my drawers.
I used to do the same shit. I used to say the same thing. Like, you know what? That's what I'm here for. That we're here. We're trying
Were
to
you
figure
successful
out.
online, V?
Fuck yeah, I was.
You respond so fast every time I ask
yeah,
you
I
a
was.
question. What was your favorite one? POF or one of them? Black People Meet.
Yeah.
I used to call Black People Meet. It's spelled Black People MEET, but you can get so much ass off that. Black People MEAT. Black People's Meat. So yeah, you went out. So
Such a whore.
so you would say basically the best advice. What's the best advice you could give men? Because we say on the show all the time, women are a paradox wrapped in its own enigma. We just can't understand them. I've gone out. You said year and a half. You've gone out with 60 women, and I've been dating. At my age now, maybe 24 years. I've gone out with hundreds of women, scores of women, and I still don't understand them. You know what I mean? But I feel like
You need to understand yourself.
He don't listen
first.
to them either.
yeah, I'm not the best listener. You're right.
He doesn't understand himself.
Oh, I understand myself. When women would respond, I truly understood myself. So can I write a book? Can I write a book? Because
anybody can write a
I have a
book.
lot of experience when it comes to women.
Sure,
write
a
so
book.
yeah. I think I'm going to
book.
write a book. You know what I'm going to call it? Okay. See, we understand.
You should do an audio book though, because the words aren't going to work. You're going to have to be talking.
I did
I have
wanna-
lots of stories.
I wanted to
lots of
say
stories.
the second part of advice is to go from the texting each other to have a phone call.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Because
I
then
agree.
it's more your success
Absolutely.
rate goes up. In terms of like no show, like not having no
Yeah.
shows,
Yeah.
like when you actually connect more.
People
Almost
people
definitely.
start relationships through texting these days.
Yeah.
Well, that's
they
online.
end relationships through texting.
Yeah.
Their whole relationship is through texting.
That's
I remember
cool.
I dated a girl one time, and I called her, and we were having a situation, like a disagreement, and I said, let's talk. And she was like, well, she honestly said this to me. She said, well, as you know, I can express myself better through text. So let's just
Wow.
text about it.
Wow.
That's crazy.
So just send her a dick pic and go find another one.
I should have thought about that at the time. I should have thought that. It's crazy.
Or a hairy ass,
It's whatever, it's there's people like that out there. And then through text, she was like Hemingway, But when you talk to her in person, it was like ribbit, ribbit, it's
I've had
nothing,
experiences
So
like that.
it's
Ribbit or
crazy. You
cricket?
had experiences
I've
like
had
that.
experiences like where you go, through these apps. You obviously you're texting each other, you're sending messages to each other, and then you start texting each other. And when you go meet them, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well,
That's
Boring
because you
as
guys don't
fuck.
drink. If you
Man,
if
it's
you
not
go
even
to
about
drink,
drinking.
you take
Do
a
it.
girl to the bar and you give her a drink, she's like yap yap yap.
no,
Now you got $80, $100.
and then you over there, you pay the bill, and No word was
Tight
said.
asses.
No
Tight
ass.
asses. Don't buy a beer.
No ass. You don't have to talk much. Just fuck me. You know, I don't care, you know.
No,
I,
man.
I do know where all the happy hours are on the west side.
There you go. There you go.
That or coffee, right?
Yeah, coffee shops. Coffee shops.
Coffee and pour some.
So does this? Do you carry this with you everywhere you go?
hey, I wrote a book.
There you go. Fuck yeah.
Hey,
Yeah, that's a good panty grabber right there,
Hey,
man.
baby, my name's Matthew.
There you go. Read about me.
So what's up in your
listen.
dating life right now, Matthew? Are you know, how many women are you banging? Tell the truth, right? This is, you know, this is a safe haven. Nobody sees this. Nobody's gonna hear this.
Nobody's gonna know.
watching. Right.
Only a couple thousand. We're good.
Yeah, I'm taking some me time right now.
Some me time.
Me too time.
You know, with, yeah,
Yeah.
you know, as of right now. Thank you very much for the advice. Thank you.
Right
very
now
much.
under the table. How's it feel, Todd?
Every tug you take.
So some me time. You
Yeah, well, so after the book came out, you know, I've been doing a lot of interviews. My business, coaching business, has elevated, and I've been
Nice.
doing a lot of speaking engagements. And I really wanted to focus on building the business and not have the distractions of dating
Nice.
right now. So
there's a quote. Ask him about the quote. Dealing with his clients. Remember that?
Yes.
I love this quote. I
It's
love
in
this
your.
quote.
You're talking about the ethics?
Yes, code of ethics.
Code of
Oh.
ethics. You
Oh,
talk
I
about,
love this quote. I love
yeah.
this.
Let's see here. If there is a mutual interest, no romantic interaction will occur prior to 60 days from the completion of our coaching agreement.
Right. So you're saying in there. I mean, from what I gather from that, you're saying in there. If you want to fuck me, just wait 60 days. It's gonna happen.
I mean, that's the shorthand of it. But yeah,
I love that he's putting it out there. I love it.
So how that came about is in the coaching industry. I'm also, you know, in tantra circles and that sort of thing. So there, you know, healers, massage therapists, coaches.
Salvador.
Did
you ever see that movie Couples Retreat?
Couples
Yes. Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah. That guy. Right.
Thrust.
That's
With
it.
energy.
That's yeah. Boom. Boom.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So and in you know, with the Me Too stuff, that I hear a lot from women about therapists and healers, and I hear this, you know, from men also, but that they cross the line. That
Yeah.
they're like, I'm just giving you a massage. There's not going to be any penetration or anything like that.
That's
and
in the
then,
Asian massage parlor. What?
well, you know, like in the like
We'll talk after
tantric,
the show.
like you know, sexual healing stuff, right?
Yeah.
So lines getting crossed, people not upholding integrity within that realm, and and it's easy to, especially when you're doing like deep traumatic work, and I'm a man who's a safe space for women, for them to trust me and be attracted to me, and be like, nobody's ever understood me like this. I have to hold that line, because if I cross that line, it's fucked, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like it hurts them more. It's fucked up for everybody.
Right.
And so that code of ethics came about.
I get it. So you're putting it out there that even though there may be some type of mutual interest, because instead of not talking about it and not bringing it up, and then somebody crossing the line, you're letting them know, we're not going to cross any lines until 60 days or whatnot.
And that's so, you know, like if we're coaching together or doing, you know, some sort of like healing thing, like we need that time apart, because otherwise it's still, if I'm the healer, I'm in a place of power.
Right.
You know, and so, you know, she's then susceptible to a lot of things, and there's a lot of shit that can happen, you know, mentally and emotionally, and so I don't want any part of that.
No
I got to ask you,
distractions.
have you ever been, as long as you've been doing this healing, has there ever been any of your clients after the 60 days that,
Hit you up on 61?
Right, exactly. Did you ever, anything go down from there?
Yeah.
Or getting
I
ready.
mean, I've dated, but it's always after that.
You know, I got to share this real quick, because this is a life experience that happened to me, because you mentioned massaging and things like that, and I've always had a hang up with that, you know. And at one point in my life, a few years back, let's say, I decided to try it out. And I went a few times, and it was all right. It was cool. And then at one point, she stole my fucking underwear, because I just wanted my neck and my back done. I was stressed out. It hurt.
Yeah.
I went in there, and like a fucking tablecloth trick. Whack! they're gone, and I'm just thinking, wow. But in the reality, I was just like, this is. I'm not okay with this. I want my fucking underwear back, and I want them now.
So Scully, you've never had a situation. Tell the truth. Okay, this is a safe haven. Nobody knows.
Oh, I know. I love safe space.
Yes, this is a safe space. This is between us. Okay,
There's no cameras or
There's no
microphones or
cameras or
anything.
microphone. There's no Facebook. None of that.
Okay, well, I feel comfortable now.
It's not on internet for the
Yeah.
Nobody knows.
It's only about
Have you
4,000,
ever had
5,000
a experience, a massage experience with somebody, like a hand job or anything like that?
No, because I've never gone to him because
Scully.
Don't pay for that shit.
Scully.
You can get it for free at a bar. Take them to Del Taco and you get it all. Why the fuck would
Del
you pay
Taco.
$80 an hour for a fucking?
Hey, how do you know how much it costs? You were right on point with that, right?
Because it's $80. Your standard price is $80 an hour. But if you just do half
didn't know
hour,
that.
just neck and back.
Did anybody know that? I didn't know that. Right?
you-
Scully.
with
He
the
told
tip.
me.
with the tip.
I think he just
With the
fucked-
tip, right.
I think he just fucked himself.
I did. Well, you kind of have to fuck yourself because those tables have the hole in the wrong place. Like your face drops.
Oh,
through
you've
this
been in one of
hole,
those places.
been there.
but your dick doesn't.
Yeah, that's not where your face goes.
Oh shit! See, I've been doing it wrong this whole time.
It's like, just because you go there and you pay $82.03 does not mean that I do it.
She just took my underwear. Who's under this table?
Has anyone else here at the table ever had that type of experience? V, you speak so fast. You
I
answer these
know.
questions so fast.
Never
Has
been.
anyone- Nope,
Because
never done it.
he
never
saw
done it.
me get called out, so he came up with his answer.
Uh-huh.
I never paid $43.75.
Because that's
Never.
half price.
That's that price on a Tuesday.
What about you, Matthew?
Yeah,
Have
I
you ever
have.
had a, see, this is an honest man. This is an honest man who's had, hey, it happens.
Are
Hand
you
jobs occur.
insinuating that I'm a liar?
I'm not simulating that you're a liar, that you knew the exact price of a hand job.
Dude, I've been to one strip club. I've watched one porn. I'm not into that
One porn.
bullshit.
One porn.
One porn.
Jesus.
No,
This is your one porn you get to
It's a
watch in
fucking
life.
joke.
He's talking about the entire porn, not just the one.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
still-
Pornhub has a
I'm-
lot of
I'm still
material on
watching
there.
it.
He's like, I watched one porn site
And
for the
finished-
life of me.
he completed the entire movie.
So we shouldn't be ashamed, and we're putting this message out there. We had a guest on last week who talked about this, a female. As a matter of fact, she hit on the Me Too movement as well. Great guest. How men and women, we're a Puritan country. We hide these, our what's natural. I mean, we all have fetishes. We all, we're all. Sexual beings and things like that. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for our parents getting freaky with one another.
Yep.
There's a lot of I thought about. I was at a football stadium one time. There were 80,000 people. I'm like, I wonder how many people in the crowd were produced from pre-cum. There's a lot of pre-cum people walking. So we're all,
That's 160,000 people having sex.
That's true. That's true.
Exactly.
That tells you how much this guy thinks about sex.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's just
I
at a
do.
football game where there's so much excitement, and he's thinking about
pre-cum.
This was a pre-nut over
About
here.
pre-cum, things like that. Cross, it happened. I mean, there's people fucking right now as we speak.
As we speak.
I may fuck tonight while somebody's doing a show here.
There's somebody out
I
there
love it.
fucking
Somewhere.
to this show.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yes.
818-570-5085.
Exactly.
Give us a call. So you come across to me, Matthew, as a really nice guy that fucks. I mean, that's the best way to say it.
Was that on my bio?
That needs to be on
On my
on
bio.
your
Forget all that
website.
other words and stuff.
Just put at the end, this guy fucks.
Exactly.
Hey, I'm a
This
nice
guy.
guy that fucks.
No. But this guy fucks after 60 days.
And a couple of 3-day follow-ups.
On the 61st date.
Oh, shit.
This guy fucks.
This guy fucks.
I did want to say, because you made a good point, not that I fucked, but before that,
Fornicates.
like a lot of the situation we're in is because we're so fucked up because we're not taught anything about sex or intimacy or
Right.
communication.
Right.
Like school teaches us, here's the anatomy, and if you don't wear a condom, you're going to catch a disease and die.
Right.
H.
Or somebody's
Right.
going to get and then we watch porn or just one.
Which is why,
Yes.
which is ultimately why I didn't enjoy the massage parlor to the fullest extent. I was scared. I didn't know
Right.
So it happened, huh?
Yeah. So
It did happen. I'm sorry. Go on.
yeah, so if we back up and start with education and start teaching kids how to communicate and start learning ourselves how to communicate, and then how I a big part of my development was I found my dad had a sensual massage video that was stashed away in a dresser when I was 14, and I was looking for masturbation material.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, naked women, but I'm watching the video, and I'm watching massage, and I'm watching how to touch a woman, and all of that. And so
Paid attention.
So yeah, so a lot of attention often. And then the first time I saw like a porn video, which was a Tracy Lords movie, I was like, oh my god, that's fucked up.
You just totally aged. So we're the same age, aren't we? That was the one I watched.
Was it?
Did you guys watch it together?
All the way through. All the way through.
Circle jerk at the
Wow.
But that's a big part of why we're at where we're at, because we have all that shame, we have all that stuff like, oh, we're not supposed to go to massage parlors, or if we do, we're it's like you gotta like hide.
You're right.
It's like a taboo kind of shit.
So instead of, we all, like women, men, all of us have needs and desires, and like we're not touched, we're not held, and so as adults, the only way that we get that touch is through sex a lot of times. And so
that's my favorite word, touch. That's been my favorite word forever. Touch. Just touch me.
My wife likes to cuddle, so
Cuddle, touch. Yeah, exactly.
I can't cuddle.
Let me tell you something, young man out there. There's a lot of creative things you can do from just touching.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
You don't need penetration. If you're with a woman and she tells you, you know what, I'm not ready to have sex, let's wait a while. There's a lot of things, a lot of creative things.
Let's see what
we can get into. Yes. There's one thing called the hot dog. That's another show. We'll get into that.
Hey, there was this comedian. I forgot his comedian's name, man. But he said that every time a man approaches a female, he's not, he wants to talk to her and stuff, but he's pretty much telling her, do you want to fuck?
Yeah.
That's pretty much
How
it,
does
right?
it go? I mean, a shoulder to cry on becomes a dick
Dick
to ride on.
right on. Yeah, exactly.
Or cry because-
Exactly. That's Matthew, man. How many you got? That's Matthew, man.
Is that chapter 9?
That's chapter 9.
I have a question. So have you ever seen the movie What Women Want with Mel Gibson?
Yeah, a long time ago. Yeah.
So in your website you say that your superpower is that you listen and you hear women and you hear what they want. So you translate what women want and you teach and you translate for that for men.
Yeah.
And so do you feel like you got Mel Gibson's superpower? You can hear them and you can I mean, that's a superpower in its own.
You're struck by a spider that understood women.
Well, you electrocuted and now you can hear women.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what I do with couples a lot of times. Is like I'm the go-between. So
Mediator.
Yeah, exactly.
See, I'll be afraid you're gonna fuck my girl. I brought my girl.
Not before 60 days.
But it will happen. It will happen after 6. I can see Matthew like, boom, boom, winking at me. Boom.
This is the way. This
Yeah.
is the way you do it.
Because he's a nice guy. She's like, he's so nice. I'm sorry, he was so nice. Nothing to say.
I bet if he takes his shirt off, he's all ripped off, just like
Salvador.
He's all yoked and ripped and bulgy and shit.
I can see why he's good with women, because women would love. You just have a very nice presence. I mean, I'm a man, okay? I'm not attracted to you. But I can see why. I can see why a woman would be attracted to you.
He's Metro. That's why you can see that.
Yeah.
I have a superpower, sir.
I got a superpower.
What does it say? I make beer disappear. Yes, that's your
Beer
super.
disappear.
Definitely a super. So you were saying? I'm sorry, we interrupted.
I don't know what was.
He's still fucking your
It
girl.
happens.
Winking at me at the same time.
Or you were asking about the translating.
superpower.
Translating,
So it's I've learned how to listen, and I've learned how to teach men and women, and how to listen and to get curious about each other. So we're seeking to understand. So if we're having a conversation, usually I'm saying stuff, you're saying stuff. I'm thinking about what you're saying, and you're thinking about what I'm saying, and so there's 4 conversations going on.
Right.
But if I'm really tuned into you and listening for your experience and what what you're trying to share with me that you want me to get, then we're more connected.
I'm sorry, I don't hear anything.
Yeah.
I totally get it. I totally get it. So the main point here is number one lesson you would say is just learning how to hone in on your listening skills. Just listening, just understanding and listening. Right?
Yeah, being curious.
Communication.
I think listening,
Curious.
understanding, and engaging too.
Understanding,
but
engaging,
not like telling them what to do, but engaging.
Giving them advice.
Yeah.
So how would you say your book is different from the most popular man woman difference book.
Men
Are from Mars and women are from Venus.
Well, it's we've evolved as men and women from the men are from Mars, women are from Venus books. Like I remember in those, and I read those a lot and listened to them on tape and all of that.
That's how I listen to it.
Yeah, so John Gray was like, when a woman's talking, if you just kind of like grunt, like she thinks that you're listening. So if you're like, but that shit doesn't work. It never worked for me, and when I was married, it never worked. So so the way that I break down listening is not something that's available in a book, as far as I know.
There's going to be a lot of men out there listening to the show and thinking, okay, he's saying some things that make sense, and I like what he's saying, but he was divorced. It didn't work out. So they're going to think.
Well, I started this after that.
You learned your lesson afterwards.
Right. Listening after.
And I've been divorced 7 years at this point.
7 years of just dating.
Well, because you've always heard that. We just talked about that yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
We did?
Yeah.
No, we didn't.
Yeah.
Yes, we did. No, we didn't.
Would you ever get married again, Matthew?
I would get married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never been married.
Uh-huh.
I'm thinking about it,
Yeah.
I'd like to do that one day. But my thing is, I'm afraid. I've so many people married, divorced, all that type of stuff. I don't ever want to go through anything like that because I have abandonment issues. I'll say that.
Okay.
So, what advice would you give to me, a man who's never been married, who's dated scores of women, who somewhat understands women, but yet doesn't understand women, which is how most men are?
Yeah.
What advice would you give to me?
Well, there's a whole thing about marriage where it's supposed to last forever, but yet the divorce rate is like 60, 70%.
Oh, it's gone up. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, it's up.
Yeah, especially in LA.
Scary. Yeah.
It's a technology thing too. Divorce rate.
Technology.
Oh yeah, with the phones and
Facebook and
apps and all that
It's
shit.
made
Yeah.
easy. You can
Tech
do
C.
it. Yeah, you can do it for $50.
Yeah,
If you don't
there's
have-
the divorce app.
I mean, you have 3. You have 3 kids though. And if you don't have
Divorce
kids
people
or
meet.
a house or
Yeah.
anything like that, you just walk away.
Yeah,
that's an app you should start.
Yeah, that's the
Divorce
next
people meet.
Divorce
Divorce people. Hey, maybe we can get together in this. Yeah.
Yeah. But the advice is, your life, it's whatever you want it to be. So if you meet somebody and you want to get married, get married. If you don't. You really get to say how your life goes as a coach.
She could be my life partner type thing.
Yeah. Do that.
And check your tax status too, because it can fuck shit up.
She'll take half.
Yeah. Well.
The only listening Delano's gonna do is the female moaning in his bedroom. That's
right.
The only listening he's gonna do.
That's right. I hear that. I understand
that. Along with that question, I guess one of the main questions I wanted to see how this whole show played out and talk and listen to you. One of the questions.
Scott, could you speak it to the mic? So
one of the questions that I had was, I guess that since you have all this experience, in your experience, what would be the most common thing that people came to you for coaching?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah. The most common thing is people going through transitions in their lives, whether it's out of a relationship or or wanting to change careers or medical conditions, or then the couples, it's usually like, we're on the way out and we need like a last ditch effort, to save this. So it's usually, transitions or a crisis or something like that.
Got it.
Well, Mr. Soloman, we understand how complicated women are. That's why you had to write a whole book about it that contains pages and pages. And
it's only 76 pages, though, because it's for men.
That's a lot of words.
If it was any longer, we wouldn't read it.
We need more. We need more.
Man school is pretty thin.
What, don't we have a book for women?
Well, that's what I'm getting to. That's what I'm getting to.
Called the
So,
dictionary.
you had to write a whole book about it with 77 pages and pages.
Yeah.
There are also other books out there trying to explain women. Men are from pages and stuff. So you even have a course in class called Man School. You know. Well, here on the Mentality Show, we wrote our own material. Okay, it's called Woman School. Okay, it's the art of understanding men, and just like men, it's not very complicated. As a matter of fact, it's only a half of one page. Okay, and here they are. We want you to write these down.
Wait, the font size is 36.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
And we want you to write these down. It's called the 3 F's. Okay, this is all you have to remember: fetus, fuckus, and shut the fuck up. That's it. Winners. There you go. That's it. Lesson complete. Lesson complete. So we want to thank you, Mr. Matthew Sullivan, for being on the show today.
Matthew. Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Any last? Find him?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
Can I do my hosting job, sir, please?
I'll do your job if you don't do it.
I'm trying to. Do I come over there and take beers out of your mouth and shit?
You can.
All right. So
actually, you need to drink
He needs to drink a beer.
That's a whole nother. Let's finish the show. So you can catch him on IG. It's IG. It's called Matty the Glue. That's MATTY the Glue, all one word. And also on his website, www.coachwithmatthewsolomon. That's his name, Coach with Matthew Solomon. Also get the book, Man School, Relating with Women in the Me Too Era. It's only 77 pages, gentlemen. If you can't read this, then you shouldn't even be reproducing, okay? And also his course. You want to tell them a little bit about your course before we end this thing?
Well, there's the Man School online course that has 7 modules, 7 videos, and then 20 extra videos. There's some women with messages for men. We get into sex. We get into what to do when you fucked up, like how to handle that, how to handle the consent conversations, and then how to develop ourselves as leaders and live from our purpose, and really as men to find our purpose so that we don't get shaken when stuff comes up.
I got to say, Matthew, we had some challenging questions and things like that we're going to challenge, but you came on here and you killed it, man. You killed it.
you.
We agree with pretty much everything you've said.
Almost definitely.
And there's nothing we can challenge you on. So check him out. You got his website. Check him out. He's a great guest. He's a nice guy that fucks, So Matthew Solomon once again. Matthew Solomon. So before we get out of here,
it'll be on his website.
before we get out of here, we do a thing called Mexican Word of the Week. Vato V, what's our Mexican Word of the Week?
Climate.
How is climate our Mexican Word of the Week?
Trump will build a wall so high we won't be able to climb it.
I love it. All right.
Climate.
All right. So that's us. www.thementalityshow.com. Catch our past episodes on YouTube. Here at latalkradio.com. Facebook Live. Catch us now on iTunes, Google Play. Soon to be on iHeartRadio. We love you, Mentalians. We will see you next week. Remember, you're good, but with our help, you could be the best. We'll see you next week.
Vámonos.
You're listening to The Mentality Show, only on LA Talk Radio.